Hello everyone and welcome back once again to the one, the only...
from the future.
I'm not sure what that bugged out was there on the audio, but welcome back, one and only Group 2, Round 2 for Francorchamps here with the SIMseniors Championship. Now, once again I ask you, you're kind of getting bored of it at this point, but it should be said, if you do enjoy what we do here, a like on the stream would go much appreciated. If you want to get involved, we've got a Facebook group, we've got the Discord server, and of course getting subscribed to things like the YouTube channel and any other media that we post on. We're going to jump straight into things fairly quickly tonight because we have got ourselves a real corker of a race this evening. We've got ourselves none other than Spa. Now, if you joined us for the Group 1 race yesterday, then you know what you should be expecting. As far as racing goes, as far as action goes, it's going to be a real good one tonight. But for those who missed it, 7,004 meters, 19 corners, an absolute landmark on the calendar, the heritage of the FIA Grade 1 circuits. You've got, of course, Raidillon and Eau Rouge. You've got the Kemmel Straight, Lacombe, Bruxelles, Pouhon, Stavelot, Blanchimont, Bus Stop, La Source, Turn 1. And that's just to name a few of the corners. 20 corners make up this track. Well, actually, yeah, no, it is 19 corners. That is my mistake on the counting front, because there is a minor kink that isn't counted in ACC. But to get you up to speed on the race and to the standings before we jump ourselves into qualifying here, folks, it is a 15-minute qualifying session which is about to start. We're about 30 seconds to a minute away from quali officially beginning, and then a 60-minute race. A mandatory pit stop of 25 seconds for getting yourself some fuel back in the car, and then if you want to also get some tyres, it is an additional 5 seconds on your time. Looking at the championship here as we jump over to the spotters guide here for the Group 2 season. We have Andrew Goddard, that's going to be, say, the Ferrari 296, and it is going to be a driver to watch as he's currently leading the Gold Division, the Gold Championship. Mark Hughes is in P2 with Alex North in P3. Silver class, you have Paul Wallace taking the top step for now with Giovanni Gilla taking second and Mike Pollock in third. And then with the bronze class, Kevin Walker, followed by Frank Tennant and Gary Broadbent. If you watched last round in Group 2 at Silverstone, you will know that there was plenty of action on track. There was a lot of argy-bargy, there was a lot of chaos at times. But regardless, we do have ourselves some good racing conduct, and the stewarding took care of that. So you might have remembered a lot of drivers and the standings being a lot different, but that is because when it came to the standings, you have a points penalty applied depending on the infractions you had on track. Either way, time is running away from us now, folks. And time is running out before we jump into qualifying. We're seeing the first cars jump onto the track. Let us know who you are keeping an eye out for as we jump in. And this is going to be good. It's going to be a very good race out there today. I know for a fact. But before the race, there is qualifying. And first out is going to be Chris Wilson. Let's see what these drivers can do. Now, Spa is a little bit of a different beast from Silverstone. And it's going to require a little bit of a different driving style. Now, what makes Silverstone so different to a track like Spa is not so much the level of commitment through the corners, so much as it is you have not so much in terms of vertical change. You do have a little bit of vertical change coming through, I believe, say just coming up through Stowe. Go a little bit up a hill, coming out the hangar straight. But you compare that to Spa. You compare that to Spa, and you can see yourself going uphill, downhill, rocketing upwards. Like, for instance, you go up, and then you go down, coming out of La Source, and then rising back up again through Radion and Eau Rouge, and that is just a complex of 4 corners. So how the verticality of the circuit is... Well, the verticality of the circuit is going to play a major role in how drivers come out well from this. But either way, we are about to get ourselves on a prime lap here. Wilson is taking the first charge. Let's see what he can do. He's going to be the one setting the benchmark. See, very close to the wall here. Down and then back up. Ready on an Eau Rouge now. Looking very clean. Don't overextend it too much. You can get your car off balance. See the kind of speeds that we're hitting. 270 kilometers an hour. So despite being set up for high aero, these cars are absolute rockets in a straight line. You open up the taps, these things can go. We stay on board with Wilson now. And looking clean for the moment through Bruxelles. Nicely done from the Aston Martin. Now you've got 11.5 minutes, so you can afford to take a little bit of a safer lap as long as you have something on the board. Saying that, very nice through P1. Really let the car ride out the corner before jumping on the brakes. So it's 13, 14, bit too much curb I think there, unsettled. Car just a little bit. And a very nice exit through Stavelot is going to say... I'm going to say this is a very good lap so far. Coming from Wilson. Of course, he's in the gold. He's in the gold class. And he's going to be a very good looking benchmark. Full tilt through Blanchimont. He's not yielding an inch. And now, bus stop chicane. Heavy on the brakes. Heavy on the brakes, and very nicely done through there. What's our initial time going to be? It is going to be a 2:20.1, but that's immediately going to be usurped by Paul Murray, who went an entire second faster, started much further back, and then he's going to see himself get a very healthy points bump in terms of starting position. We head on board with Roger as we see him cross the line. More drivers are now coming through. Where is he going to land? It's going to be P5, 2:20.8. Few more coming through. Lockhart, 2:20.6. Mikulev, 2:20.9. Mike Pollock, 21.5. Now, next couple of drivers are going to be heading through the line soon. 2:24 from Bull, 2:23 from North, and then a 2:26 from Wallet. What's Kevin Walker going to hit? Is it going to be a good one? It's going to be P11. 23.8 so far. You got Gary Broadbent, one of the drivers to watch in this championship so far, who made very good on their initial runs and their initial debut. They're going to be jumping into P10. Early days, it's looking like a massive spread in the top 10. You have 3 seconds, or just under 3 seconds, between Murray, who is curiously in the silver class, and then Pollock. Although saying that, a few more cars are coming through now. Dorigo, for instance, just went P9, 2:21.1. Very nicely done there. But let's jump on board with John Lloyd. Let's see if we can get a good time down here. He's in the bronze class, but he's really gone on a time there. 2:17.8. We've taken a massive upswing. A massive upswing indeed. A couple other drivers. We've got a few yet to set a time. For instance, we're on board with McKillop. Gold class driver. And a point to prove. 22 out of 36 drivers in Group 2 have set a time so far. We are coming up to the halfway mark here in qualifying. Time may be of the essence. If not, these drivers need to get a move on, get a lap on the books, and then they can judge their next decisions. But McKillop, about across the line. What is it going to be from him? It's going to be a P7, but he's immediately going to get usurped. I think that was Roger, just behind Spinkes. Nicely done there. Giovanni Gila through Blanchimont now. Looking like he's also got a point to prove as we come through bus stop now. Final corner. Get on the power as early as you can without overdoing it on the track limits. 220 or 221 flat. So that's going to put P14. As we see a few more cars coming through. Now, not many cars have yet to set a time. Anthony Flack, the 916 car in the 296. Going to be next driver to watch. Who's it looking like? Is it going to be in the 20s, the 10s, even the single digits? What's it going to be? Unfortunately, it's going to be a track extension, and it's going to be invalidated at the last moment. Bernard Heim, P17, makes a big improvement to P13 now. And a great run that was. But someone else with a massive improvement on the books, Carl Thompson. He's P8, but he's got just under a second and a half improvement over their best. At the current rate, this could put him on the podium spots. This could put him potentially on the front row. Looking like a good run here from Thompson, but can he commit it through? Can he take it all the way through to the end? That is the question. Very nice through Blanchimont. Heavy on the brakes to bus stop. A little bit too much curb. It looks like he bumped it on the sausage there on the inside. But clean line otherwise. Now, across the line, P8. A big improvement. P3 there. Not quite the second and a half we were gauging, but still a massive jump nonetheless. Hopkins going to go P5. Excellent stuff. Dismugas going to go up into P7 after getting demoted a couple of times. McKillop in P9. And then who else is on the field right now? Let's have a look and see. Well, Paul Wallace, 223 last, 226 on the books as his best, but he's looking like he can really jump up here. He's all the way up to P10. He's made a whole 7 seconds of an improvement. So this is where we see drivers now in these last 5 minutes really up the ante. They're pushing as hard as they can. John Lloyd up in the front in the bronze class, but leading with a significant margin. He's half a second up. Is half a second up, and that gap is increasing. Absolute rocket right now. It's looking like nothing phases him. Take it right to the outside curb, carrying as much speed as you can. Really going for it this lap. 217.8 is his current best. Are we going to see that drop down? I think we are. The question is by how much? Half a second up. Looking like we could see a 0.3 on the books. Is it going to be? It's going to be a 0.3. 217.3 is the time to beat. Next driver in Murray is going to be an entire 1.3 seconds behind. I don't know if there's going to be much drivers can do to combat this one. But oh boy, if it isn't going to be fun to watch. You know, we'll jump aboard with John Mitchell. John Mitchell is going to be a heck of a driver if he can keep this up. So far, 8 tenths up on his best of 220.1. But he is in traffic because he's stuck behind Gila. And I'm not sure if Gila's on a lap. They're down in P20 by comparison, so I wonder how much they're trying to improve and push. They are about half a second down compared to Mitchell's 7 tenths up. But can Mitchell commit it through? We're coming up to the bus stop chicane. We're down through Francorchamps. Is he going to have to make any evasive maneuvers? Or at least his run is going to be impacted by the car ahead of him. He's still going to get an improvement, but he lost a quite substantial amount of time. He's only going to get P12 coming from that last sector there. Just, yeah, get caught up in traffic. Goes to show things like dirty air do have quite a measurable impact. Richard Coulomb? Or Coulomb, I should say. Let me know how to pronounce it. There will be next driver. We'll keep an eye on the 773 car in the gold class, and a one that we have seen put on some real good fighting skill. But he has overextended. He just took too much through Francorchamps, and he's going to be invalidating his lap. Fortunate to see. Let's see who else is on the field. You've got a couple of other drivers who have made some improvements. Or Colin. Okay, noted. Bertrand Mikalev, who's going to be seeing if they can also make some good on the situation. I think they have also invalidated their lap. Yeah, you can just see overextension a little bit there. That's going to be doing it in for them. But Chris Wilson, one of the drivers we had our eye on at the start of the session, I think they're going to be looking to take some places back. Because currently, that number 49 car is sitting on a second, an entire second's delta. Let's see if we can commit it and turn it into a winner of a lap. He initially had some good time, but he's lost a little bit through bus stop. He is going to get P7, so very nicely done. Could have been a top 5 if he just nailed the bus stop. Anthony Flack. One to also keep an eye on, as we can see him push as hard as he can through Campos into Stavolo. Whereas the time gone? The time has gone straight down to the track as he's 7 tenths up right now. It could see a similar situation to what we saw before, because there is another car just up ahead. Qualifying flag has fallen, so now it's go time. It's do or die time for these drivers. And it looks like Lloyd is going to be untouchable here, unless Black does make an improvement, but it's only up to P4 to 18.867. It's a very respectable time, though, might I add. I have to say, these drivers are really giving it their all. Unfortunately, a lot of them are going to be seeing some invalidations put an end to their quali runs. But as it stands, a few more drivers still have a chance to make an impact. Tony Hill, final corner, 17, but 7 tenths up. Makes it into the top 10. Excellent stuff from him there. Dorigo, next one out on a proper push lap and significantly up on time. Wilson is still out there, but Wilson is not making up any positive time, so we're going to keep our eyes trained firmly here. As Dorigo has got just over half a second they can make up here. Just if they can nail this final sector, they could even push themselves into the top 20. It's going to be looking tight for him. A little bit much of the curb through Francorchamps, but keeps it together. Final chicane now, and lean into the brakes. Get a good exit there. And it is going to be P20 for Dorigo. And that is your timing, folks, here in Quali. It's looking like a 217.3 absolutely dominates the session. What a run there from Lloyd. I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be getting moved up. I have no doubt in my mind. But it's looking like an amazing run nonetheless. Let's take an actual look at the standings good and proper. Unfortunately, the timing board doesn't seem to want to expand like I intended. But John Lloyd is going to be taking the top honours and taking the lead of the bronze category, as well as the entire session, 217.3, and then you have a 218.6 coming out from Paul Murray and leading the silver class, with Mark Hughes coming in P3 and leading the gold class. Not sure why I combined those two words together, but we're seeing a bit of an inverse turn to what we're expecting usually. We're expecting to see the pro, also known as gold class, at the top of the timing boards, but we've seen a little bit of a reverse card on that front. And not only that, but Lloyd, 1.3 seconds, nothing to scoff at either. But that is your timing sheet, folks. That is your top 20 spots, and we are going to be taking a small moment just to get ourselves locked in and ready for the race. Let's do this. But we will be having a very short break. Be sure to like the stream if you haven't already. We'll see you back in 2 minutes. Alright everyone, we are jumping back in. Annoyingly, the UI has... There we go. UI has now fixed itself. And you can see, almost looking like the cars are still jacked up with the air jacks. But everyone is getting themselves ready to go racing. Remember folks, 60-minute race. Mandatory pit stop, 25 seconds for fuel, an additional 5 seconds if you take tyres as well. Strategic ball is in your court. And as the session is about to get underway, let's see that formation lap start to kick in. There is our sort of pole sitter and lead. Taking off in formation. Yeah, formation. There we go. In formation. There we go. Let's see, John Lloyd leading the way. Let's sort of jump on board with Mark Hughes down in P3. And one of the drivers to keep an eye on for. They are currently P2 in the gold class of the championship, only beaten out by Andrew Goddard here down in P7. Not the strongest qualifying from Goddard here, because he has got that first place to defend, but with some good racecraft, he can easily make up those places. Interesting, we're not seeing Wallace. Oh, no, there we go. There is Wallace. Just appeared for me. There he's the leader of the silver class, but he's actually sitting in P4 of the silver class right now. Gila is further behind, though. Because ahead of them, you've got Hill, Pollock, and, of course, Murray. Dan Walker is the leader of the bronze championship, or the bronze class of the championship, I should say. And you've got Frank Tennant and Gary Broadbent, all sort of in this sort of lower quad of the field. Broadbent just ahead of Walker, and Tennant down in P35. We're seeing a very good spread overall of drivers across the different sets of the field. I say I'm very thankful for cars phasing into each other, because I think my heart just leapt into my mouth for a split second then. I was very worried there was going to be contact on formation, but then I remembered that the formation lap doesn't have collisions, and I could have saved myself a major scare there. Now, hopefully we'll see some good racing out there today, because above all else, these drivers race hard, they race fair. And even if we did see a few more incidents on the first round, it's still going to be a great race. I know that for a fact. The flag is going to fall when we drop down past the pit lane and where we started on formation. Even though the start-finish line is technically just coming out of the bus stop, the start race procedure is looking a little bit different here in Spa. I think it's one of the only tracks on the calendar to do this kind of split start versus start-finish line. Of course, in the chat, do let me know, because I know that maybe some in the chat who are a bit more educated than I in the racing calendar overall. But now down to 60 kilometers for the start of the race. And then the green flag falls when the race leader crosses the start point, as denoted by the start at formation. We're going to stay on the helicam because we want to capture everything that's going on once this race gets going, once this race starts to kick off. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat, folks, because as we round out the technically first corner of the circuit, La Source, we're about to go racing. And now we're going to stay on board. In fact, Mark Hughes, we're not going to jump on with the lead. We're going to try and get as much of a view of the front quart of the grid as we can. Formation is about to break, and there you go. That is the green flag, folks. We are away with Group 2 in Spa, the second race of the SIMseniors Season 5 Championship. And immediately there's fireworks as to start off. We've got a Ferrari round. We've got a three-car collision. We're already losing cars, and we've already got a massive... What has happened? What is this? We've got Eau Rouge and Radion, and we've got 20 cars, it looks like, all caught up. We need to see just what happened there. So let's try and catch just what happened. We've got a mid-view, a mid-pack view, and let's try and see from this perspective. So we initially had a little bit of an off. You've got someone who's going off to the side, losing a bit of traction, and there you go. You just see the carnage up ahead. There's cars left, cars right, cars backwards, cars forwards, but not going anywhere fast. And all I can say is that is probably one of the most explosive starts to a race. I wonder if we're going to get red flagged. I genuinely don't know if we're going to get red flagged or not. That was so many cars getting involved in that incident. I'm really just wondering what to think that was just could have been the start of one car. Just to start by one car making a mistake, but with such a tightly packed field. No life stewarding for red flag, fair enough. The show must go on. The show indeed must go on. And we've seen another off, and that is going to be for Angelo Correa. And oh, that is going to be a smack on the back. That is just me guess bumping into him. Looking rough, looking a little bit rough there, because he's at least getting back on track. He's getting himself back up to the regular spot. Kellenberg, P15, number 23 car, has just dropped the pace to Melon, but let's see if he can get the retake through the bus stop chicane. He's a little bit further away. He doesn't quite have an opportunity just yet, but who does have an opportunity is Gary Broadbent. He was getting very close to the Porsche Vassallo. And then you got a couple of other cars. The leaders themselves have mostly balanced out. They have mostly calmed down. They have sort of stuck to their own places. And we can see there's another incident that happened between Corral and Hill. We're not going to replay it, but we are just going to note that there has been an incident between the two. Eero Vasuri could get a move on the Camel Straight, depending on how Wallace plays his cards here. That Porsche, you can get away with pushing it a little bit further. You can get away with pushing it and through the corners. See what time you can gain. It's looking like a pretty rough line. He's going to have to take to the infield is Paul Wallace, and to his credit, doesn't return to the racing line. I think that was a yield. I think that was a yield of position and a bit of show of sportsmanship there. Always want to promote that sportsmanship. So if that was the case, Wallace, we salute you. That's the kind of conduct we want to see. If you get to position by going off track, yield the place, be a good sport, and all is fair in racing. Let's see, Roger is down in P25 here, potentially getting himself caught in quite the battle. As we can see, he's coming right up close to the back of centre. Is he going to go for it for a pull-on? He has got the inside. A little bit later on the brakes. Commits to the corner. Oh, wow, that was a good overtake. That was a very nice overtake from the Porsche there. Well played, good sir. Jumping up to the top end of the field, we've got John Lloyd. 3/10 behind Murray. Lloyd has conceded the top spot and is looking like a real fighter in trying to get that P1 spot back. You can sort of get a gauge of the proximity. Getting very close is the Ferrari of Hughes. So I know for a fact Hughes is going to want to get up into those top spots. He's thinking, well, I want to be in those top two spots. I'm in the gold class. I should be up there. A little bit of incident from Mitchell further down. McKillop is going to be having a drag race with him. In fact, trying to capitalize on his mistake there. No switchback to be seen, sadly. No switchback. And I wonder if he's getting caught in a little bit of dirty air there. As we see, he takes a bit more of the curve than he would have liked. He's going to be really close to the back of Mitchell there. Is he going to commit to a move? Because he's got, of course, McKillop has got Mitchell right there. But also, if we look, you can see he's got a little bit of damage, maybe playing some havoc with his aero. And he's got Vasuri breathing down the back of his neck. So he cannot afford to play it safe. But he can't overdo it either. So far, a very strong drive. Mike Bull, P22, but fighting for a spot back as they are going to be chasing Thompson down. They initially conceded the position to Thompson. Now it's looking like a real tussle to get P21. We've got a fair good few fights across the field. I have to commend it and give it credit where it's due. These drivers, they know how to race. They know how to push. They know how to give each other a good challenge. Like for instance, we've got Eero Vasuri, who is keeping it very tight to the rear of McKillop. He's laying in wait. He knows that any mistake he can capitalize on nearly immediately. And lo and behold, a better exit out of Stavolo and out of turn 16 through into Blanchimont. You can see full commitment here. He's got the front end out and he's got it past. Is there going to be full commit here from Vasuri? I think that's the move done, because McKillop has not only lost the spot to Vasuri, he's trying to fend off Paul Wallace. Very nicely done. We've also got Quinkellenberg trying to chase down Melon. They've been there for a couple of laps now, and they show no signs of slowing down. In fact, I think he's going to go for a move into La Source. He's going to pull side by side, has a bit more speed, and he's got the move done. But no, there's contact there between the two. I think Melon just tried to go to one side, try and get the outside line. As we see, there's another car. That's going to be Vassallo outbraking themselves and going to the the runoff. Both of them rejoining the circuit, P17, P18. Back at the top end of the field, we are looking sharp as the top three runners are going to be still keeping each other in good pace, keeping each other honest. See, this is the kind of racing that we love. It's the kind of racing where you are pushing each other to the limits. You are healthy about it. You're respectful about it. You see John Lloyd, very good run through Pouan, has closed nearly all of the gap, puts the nose to the left side, but doesn't go full commit. Doesn't need to fire it down to one side, because A, you just concede it through this next complex of corners, and B, could put him in a risky position. Some great driving to be had up here and around the field. There's some good driving, definitely. But Mike Ball has just made a bit of a move on Coulon, as we have Center potentially making a move, and oh, he's going to be going for it all right. He's going to be pushing it way too deep, and he's going to be putting it in the wall. As we see a bit more chaos just in the background, that's going to be Smith bowing out down to P29. A couple of positional shuffles up and down in this little pack down here. We're down to 35 drivers now. Roger Dismiguez is going to be getting a move through on Blanchimont, on Walker. So well played to him, nicely done there. And a very impressive job from the Porsche driver. What's this? What's this we see? This is Chris Wilson. Whoa, the camera having a bit of a freak out then. Whoa, the Aston Martin not faring much better. Just loses the rear, coming up over the crest. Luckily, keeps off to one side, doesn't drive unpredictably. And we've also had a bit of an incident from John Lloyd. Let's see what's just happened to him up here. Looks like he span at the end of the Kemmel Straight, and he's had to be very quick at getting himself back out on track. He has recovered, but down to P8 is not going to be happy with that one whatsoever. He's going to want to get himself back on the field and get himself back up there ASAP. In other news, Keith Moore down in the pits. He's had to retire out into the pit lane. We see what happens there. He just, yep, no. Eau Rouge and Blanchimont have taken another victim, and he's straight into the Armco. Unfortunate for him there. Back onto the helicam. And we see Chris Wilson, who currently has the fastest lap. Fun fact. Fastest lap of a 2:19.392. Even faster than all of the top runners. But they're going to be pushing to try and get themselves into the top 10. John Lloyd, also another car, pushing to get himself back up in the top rungs and get his positions back. Let's see what he does. Very good move there into the bus stop chicane. Really good move, execution, and... well, I don't want to use turns of phrase too much, but it really was a case of he's up behind, and it was signed, sealed, delivered. No fuss, no drama. And he's up into P7. But now is the challenging part, because he's got 3 seconds between himself and Lockhart just up the road. Bruce Hopkins up in P3. He's inherited one of the podium spots owing to Lloyd's crash. And now is the time where we see Hopkins potentially make even more gains. He's got a little bit further on the Kemmel Straight, and they're going to be dueling heading into Le Combe. It's going to be Hopkins taking the initial lead. A little bit of shakiness from Paul Murray. Is he going to result in any disaster? Nope, he's caught it quite nicely. But he's under pressure now from Andrew Goddard. The 33 car sees that shakiness, sees that little bit of confidence being wobbled. And we can wonder only one thing. Is Goddard going to go for it? Is Goddard going to capitalize on that shake in nerves? Or is he going to play it safe? Because it looks like he's very much regained his composure. Wilson has unfortunately put himself into the pits after having another issue. Let's try and see what's happened here. Oh, Wilson just outbraked himself on Kemmel Straight. And he's, yeah, no drama. I thought there was a big crash there. But turns out he's just outbraked himself and he's bowed out. Unfortunate to see, but it can happen. It happens to the best of us. And we're now down to 34 drivers connected to the lobby, and I expect that to drop by a couple more within the next couple laps here. Kellenberg, P16, looking for opportunities. Chris Lockhart has just got a position dropped on him. And we can see that Lloyd was the one to do it. Unfortunately, the replay cam didn't get me the span of time I needed. The preset buttons are not doing any favors here, but we can also see that Payne is down in P15 after Quinn Kellenberg has made a very good move. Now, is Thompson going to be the next one to take a shot? Bus stop chicane now, inside line, turned 18 and 19. Very nicely executed from the Porsche. Yeah, Thompson just had control of the corner and he took it. Meld in the pits as well, yes. So Wilson, Mellon and Moore are all in the pit lane right now. 34 drivers connected. Potentially going to drop a couple more before night's end. Paul Murray has dropped a spot, I imagine through Kemmel Straight, to Andrew Goddard. So I wonder if we're going to see much of a counter-attack from him in any way. He's going to be hungry for that position, no less. We have, in fact, seen a few drivers go back out. So Mellon's out. We're back out on track. Moore is back out on track. Only one left is Wilson. Is Wilson going to be going back out on track too? You see, that is going to be Mike Bull out braking himself. And he's going to have to take to the sort of escape runoff. Just coming through Le Combe. We wait and see. We diligently watch as our drivers continue to fight. Oh, Oh no, say Moore's back in the pits. Wilson is out though. So Wilson is back out on track. Good on you, mate. You keep fighting that good fight. Above all else, when everything is going against you, when things aren't going your way, at least if you're going to try for anything in those dire times, just keep on pushing to finish the race. And that puts you in much better stead than if you not made it to the line. Look a bit further down, we see Fabio Vassallo waiting to see if he can get a move. Roger De Smucas taking a very good line and seeing Conrad Payne. In fact, Conrad's going to head into the pits. He's going to be one of the first to do so in this session, as De Smucas just had him on the bus stop. Carl Thompson is going to be, oh, having a big coming together through La Source. I think he just expected him to go for a bit of a different move. And, oh, what's he? Don't know what the play is here from Thompson. I think he's just very wary of any drivers coming out there. And no, that is... Did he just retire? Because I did not change the camera. Yeah, I did not change the camera. See Conrad in the pits. Dorigo coming in along with Peter Smith. Then we jump back on with Vassallo. Yep. Unfortunately, he is absolutely out of there. See, all ducking in as more cars are flying on by. And top 10, P9, Iravasuri. Yeah, I don't think that Porsche is going to be happy. Don't think he's going to be happy whatsoever after what happened there. Yeah, it's just that coming together of cars. Saw him completely out of the action there. A shame to see, for sure. Surrey could have an opportunity here. Are they going to go for it? You see, they go very much to the left, as much track as they can take, as wide of a swing through the source as they can get. Are they going to be teeing up for a move on the Camel Straight? That's the question on my mind. And let's see from Vasuri's POV what he's going to do. You can see Mitchell taking a narrow line. Rouge paying heed to the other cars just entering back onto the track. And he's not going to go for it this time. Not yet, anyway. They certainly capitalised by nature of having a tow through the Camel Straight, but Fabio Vassallo, we've jumped to him a few times, and now is the time to see whether he's going to be close enough to make a move. He didn't quite get the speed he wanted for Eau Rouge and Radeon, and the car is looking a little bit worse for wear. You can see the hood just flapping about a little bit, so I wonder if his aero is suffering, or whether that is purely cosmetic for now. You know, you can definitely have a little bit of scrapes. John Lloyd has made a massive surge up the field. He's already up in P5. You got to think, last time we checked in on him, he was 3 seconds behind the next car. And now he's not only closed a gap, but he's created another one by catching up. And now he's got Murray in P4. Aero is looking a little bit worse for wear, yeah, so that's the difficult thing with getting damaged so early on in the race, especially if you're one of the drivers who got picked up in the what felt like million car collision, is that aero deficit is going to affect you the entire race unless you sink the time into any repair action. John Lloyd, we're going to keep an eye on him for now, as a couple more cars are heading into the pits by this stage. Yeah, so many drivers' aero is absolutely cooked, to the point where it almost evens out. If you've got everyone's aero damaged, everyone's still on the same level playing field, but the aero balance of the cars is wildly different, so it's never truly a one-to-one comparison. Oh, that's John Lloyd. Very aggressive in trying to make up time. Out Lecombe into Brissell, he's going for it. He's got the inside, he's remained committed, and P4 could be locked in for him here. Can he nail the next couple of exits? A little bit wider of a run. But through Pouon, I think he's got it. I think he's got it right there. I do wonder, sometimes ACC's track limits have certainly eluded me as a concept. But eventually we are going to see, not necessarily some comeuppance, but we are going to see some drivers getting handed drive-throughs. Because it's happened last time, it's happened in Group 1. And I would not be surprised if we saw it in Group 2. Sometimes it's just the way. As a driver, you take a little bit too much speed, you take a little bit too much aggression to a corner, one too many times, and you get handed that DT, and he's SOL. Murray down in P5 right now, and he's kind of marooned in his own little space. And Murray is, in fact, heading to the pits now. He hadn't taken his stopped. And almost as if on cue, I was about to say, he's gone for it and gone into the pits. So he's going to be having to judge his exit point very carefully as to his race strategy options. John Mitchell, sandwiched between two cars right now. He's between Lockhart and Vasuri. Now he could play his cards in two very different ways here. He can play his hand aggressively, go for a move on Lockhart, and see if he can get himself a buffer to Vasuri. Because Vasuri, I think, is his main rival right now on track. They've been together on the course for a very long time now. But saying that, John Mitchell just overcooks the corner too much on the approach and has to duck into the pit exit lane, yielding the position to Vasuri. It's a very good save, I do have to say. You saved that really well. That could have been a major incident. So kudos for cleaning up as much as you did on that run. But unfortunately, it is going to see him concede down to P7 for the time being. I think whether it's a case of pressure getting to him or just mild mistake, he's still in good hands. He's still in a good position. Because if nothing else, he's not under threat. The next driver, McKillop, is 11, nearly 12 seconds down. I'm not saying Mitchell can rest on his laurels, but he can certainly rest a little bit easier. Where does this land for us in terms of the race dynamics? Well, let's take a look. You've got drivers ducking into the pit lane here. But as we look on the boards, so far, John Lloyd, P4, P1 start, made a mistake, dropped down. He's made a meteoric surge on his way back up. Hughes, Hopkins and Goddard lead the way, the top three. Lockhart, Vasuri, Mitchell, McKillop, Wallace, Hilton, Devine, Dismukes, Walker, Vassallo, Colon, Gila, Bull, Broadbent, Murray and Quinkellenberg make your top 20. And then the rest of the field falls into place. So for instance, we've got, say, North, Payne, Smith, Dorigo, Centre. And saying that, Comrade Payne just had a bit of an off. Let's kind of see what the lead up is here. So Blanchimont just takes a little bit too wide of a line, but interestingly ducks off a track. Not sure what the reasoning was behind that, but yeah, they've ducked off track. Vassallo also making a major drop. He's seeing himself down in P15 again. Is that maybe a play for temperature reasons? I find that very bizarre if so, because there's such cost to your race pace. And I don't even think that works in the current build of ACC. Side notes, folks, let us know how excited you are for the GT2 pack that's coming. I believe at the time of this stream, I believe it's coming tomorrow. So let us know how excited you are for that and the car you're looking forward to the most. Red Bull Ring. Certainly want to see some racing around that. Take a quick look around the field. Quite a few cars are in the pits. 5 of them this lap. Yeah, we're going to see the Red Bull Ring. We're going to see some BOP changes, which I know for the likes of us here at SimSeniors is going to be music to many's ears. As I think, in fact, yes, has been illustrated in chat. And I am a particular fan also of the Maserati. Yeah. Paul Wallace, P7. Back to the action. Coming up to the halfway point of the race. Looking for a move potentially out through the bus stop chicane. It's very close through Blanchimont. Takes a bit of a wider arc. Try and keep his car cool. Keep himself out of dirty air. Is there going to be a move? Is there going to be a commitment? Doesn't look like there needs to be because both of them are in the pit lane. McKillop and Wallace both going for their mandatory stop. As many others have done so too. Neil Mellon, what's happened to him here? Let's jump on the helicam, see what's going on. Down to P31. Through Puon. And, oh, big slide, big spin, and straight into the wall. Straight into the tyre barrier. That is a rough impact. Ouch. I would not want to be in his position right now, because luckily it's sim racing, so there's no physical pain, but when you're watching along with something like that, you can feel it. You can feel it. And it certainly hurts, if not the skin and bones, it certainly hurts the pride. So his car, I honestly think Mellon's completely out of it. We're down to 31 cars, and I think it's about to become 30. That brutal hit is as good as game over. I do feel for you there, mate. But you put up a valiant effort. Up to the halfway mark. Things were looking sharp. Things were looking good. We look up to P24. Comrade Payne. Another driver doing fairly well. Could be looking for a move, and we'll be one to keep an eye on. Andrew Goddard, P10. I believe now has taken their stop and has conceded a few positions. We see just ahead. That is, I believe, Broadbent and Hill. Yep, Hill is going to yield. It is blue flag. Let's see what he does with this on-track traffic. John Lloyd down into P9 now. Did he take his stop, or did he just have a bit of an off? No, I think he believed he took his stop. His last lap was a 3-minute 44. So it suggests to me the stop was taken. But we can see things start to balance out. This is the... Oh, as we just see, I think that was Goddard in the background. Yep. Goddard dropping down to P11 behind Broadbent after an off in Stabilo. I was literally about to say that this is the point of the race where things start to balance out. Things start to get very calm, and it's about just putting consistent laps in by this stage. But I am apparently mistaken, because it looks like these drivers here have got plenty more fighting to give. Goddard and Broadbent through the bus stop, and Broadbent's going to be heading into the pits, so Goddard is going to get that one by admission. But a very good move up the inside nonetheless. Time is of the essence. And what it is time for is seeing most, if not all, drivers being completed with their stops. Unfortunately, the lobby is not displaying the stops as intended. We can only apologise there. But most drivers by the stage have taken them. Mike Ball looking for a move on Vassallo. But it's a bit of a poor exit out of Stavlo. It's going to see that Porsche expand the gap to about half a second. Can he reclaw it? Wonder, can he reclaw it? John Mitchell is going to be heading into the pit now. Further up the field, one of the top runners to do so. They're going to be dropping down some significant places and have to fight their way up. John Lloyd now once again, P8, looking for a move. And what's happened here? Oh, Mike Hilton, that was a yellow flag coming out. I thought that was an issue, but turns out just heading into the pits. Number 770 car is now in. And we have got 26.5 minutes to go here at Spa. Lloyd looking for a move, looking for a chance. And a chance isn't quite coming. It's just not quite coming. He bides his time though, because I think he's very much waiting for just the right moment to take the duel to Hopkins. So many other cars heading into the pits. Mikulev in, as well as Desmikas, Devine, Hilton and Mitchell. Who is going to be coming out first? And who is going to be saying bye-bye to the rest of the competition? John Lloyd up into P4 now that the rest of the top runners have taken their stops, and he's about to make it a podium position because Hopkins hasn't got quite the same speed. He had a little bit of the toe. He's going to have the inside heading into the Campbell Straight. Is he going to commit the move through Lecombe? Yes, he is. And he's going to be up into P3. A great run from him there. And now up into a podium position. Lloyd has really turned this one around. Ooh, what's happened to Paul Wallace? See what's happened here. He's running relatively in isolation. He's get a bit of a play-by-play of what's happened. Eau Rouge, Radion, too much curb. Ooh, just keeps it out the wall though. Lives to race another day. Very nicely saved from him there. No damage incurred. Good job, mate. Well done. Got it very much too close for comfort against that wall. Now, when you have an incident, when you have a spin like that, you got to lock your brakes. Got to lock your brakes. Just remember that. It's for consistency. It's for the safety of all cars around you. You don't want to be trying to move and place your car in the event of an incident. Unfortunately, that is a Wilson. We have seen Wilson call it time. Fortunately, that's going to see him out, and is going to see us down to 30 cars in this session. Started 36, ended 30 at this point in time. Hopefully, we don't lose any more. Hughes and Looker are next to each other, side by side in the pits. Who is going to be the one to come out? It's going to be Hughes. Hughes is first out, and Hughes is going to be coming out the pit lane. But is it going to be fast enough to outpace John Lloyd? P2 right now. Has a bit of traffic either side of him. But yeah, you can see that Hughes is just going to come out the pit lane. Is not going to be enough time to get up to speed, though. Is Lloyd going to be getting round? Annoying trees in the way. Hughes has got himself into P2. So very respectable run, but John Lloyd is in the lead of the race. In the lead of the race now. And we look a bit further down, we see Europa Surrey chasing Mitchell down. Is there going to be a move? 2 tenths behind, tucked up nice and close to the rear. Interestingly enough, Locke has got a stop and go 30-second penalty. A stop and go 30 seconds. That is going to basically put a death nail in any race plans he had up until that point. And that is a brutal, brutal punishment. But that's what happens when you speed in the pit lane. You cannot be speeding in the pit lane. It's that simple. It is a safety protocol. It's a safety measure. Motorsport, safety above all. So if you were speeding in the pits, that is cause for heavy infractions. Out on the track, fine. Speed as fast as you like, as we're seeing with Mike Bull. Could be landing a move here. Got a little bit more speed, but I don't know if he's close enough. Is he going to go for it? He's certainly going to be getting close. But time to yield. Maybe go for it on the next lap. Not quite there from Mike Bull. He has overcommitted there through Brissell. And, oh, he's lost the car. He's lost it. He tried to correct onto the racing line. And he dropped the rear. He's going to have to get himself back on track and do it fast before he loses too many positions. He's going to be down in P21 for now. Might see some improvements, but that's where we stand. Very much a wide run from both the Porsche and the McLaren here. And Kellerberg getting very close to the back of Smith. Chaos and fun times only. Locker heading into the pits now. I think he's going to serve his stop and go 30. Either that or he's bowing out. Here over Surrey is in the grass. What's happened to him there? Let's see. Ended the Kemmel straight. And just a little bit too early on the throttle. Throttle steered himself into the grass, but keeps itself out the wall. Good catch. Good catch. Bruce Hopkins could be one to keep an eye on in P3. As they are going to be 8 tenths down as of now. But the gap seems to be closing, or at least in brief periods closing before opening up again. It shows that Bruce Hopkins is committed. Hughes is in his crosshairs. He wants that P2. It'll be one to keep an eye on as this race progresses. Final quarter coming up very, very soon. It's a good thing too, the track conditions are optimal for this kind of racing. As Rick Kellerberg is going to be making a move on Smith. Coming out Eau Rouge and Bradion had such a good exit, it seems, that he's managed to get it before the Kemmel straight ends. A very nice one from Quinkellenberg, and P18 is as good as his. Looker has gone into the pits and come out looking fresh, but still with a stop and go 30 to their name. Meanwhile, up at the top end, Bruce Hopkins has clawed that gap down between himself and Hughes to about half a second. He's leading into the acceleration strength of the Vantage, but the Ferrari very well could have him in the corners. So the real test here is how well can Hopkins keep pace as the Ferrari leads, has the clean air. Remember, 3.4 seconds split himself and the others, but that is going to be Tony Hill. Let's kind of catch what happened. You can see Lecombe, and oh, brutal hit into the wall there. Brutal hit, just coming through turn 8, or turn 7 I should say. Just a little bit too much acceleration. Sad to see. He is going to be limping his car for the rest of this lap. I wonder if he's going to be pitting in, considering the damage he's incurred. Whether it's worth it for him, with only 17 minutes to go. Strategic questions he has to answer. Time heals all wounds, but it does not heal race positions. And Hopkins could be under some threat before long. He has to decide whether he wants to make a move or not, because behind him, Andrew Goddard. That Ferrari is looking hungry for a podium spot, and he's now clawed himself to within a second of the Vantage. Top 3 almost, all Ferrari. Hopkins is the only one that stands in the way of that mark. And I wonder how we're going to see drivers capitalize on their opponent's mistakes as we head through here. Very, very good La Source from Hopkins. He's right up to the back of Hughes. He's really pressed up against his rear. I really should not say these kinds of things in the way I say them, because they will be taken out of context. But Hopkins is looking very hungry for a move. It's just not quite happening yet. And now Hopkins has kind of had the script flipped on him. Because who is behind him other than the one, the only Goddard? Half a second now between himself and the Vantage. That Ferrari looking eager as ever. Ooh, bit of a power slide coming into Pouon. He's dropped himself a bit of time there for sure. Definitely thinking about how we're gonna approach that. Let's see, I think we just saw, yeah, if we head into the bus stop, you can see Vassallo just outbraked himself there. That's why he dropped the position. Just outbrake himself into the bus stop chicane. He was under the pressure from Dorigo, and it got to him. It got to him fully. Look at, let's see what happened there. Because he just came out of the pits only to go in again. Well, it looks like a connection issue or a peripheral issue of some kind, because that's very unnatural to come straight out of the pit lane and then just go straight into the wall. We're Where is Goddard's livery? Well, the livery client was refreshed prior to the race, so I can only apologise if there's been a bug there. Here as our current timings on the board, 45 minutes into the race. Lloyd leads, Hughes, Hopkins and Goddard, along with Murray, make the top 5. North, Mitchell, Vasuri, Wallace and Hilton into the top 10. So of your top 10 drivers, 2 of them are in the bronze class, 2 in the silver and 6 in the pro. Sorry, I cannot count, it seems. I've lost my counting ability. I left it at work this morning. And the rest of the field kind of lines up in a uniform way, but with a massive cluster of bronze drivers from P16 through to P23. They're all there in this sort of singular cell. You have a few more pro / gold and silver drivers sprinkled in the mix around P11 to P15, and then it's just all bronze drivers. And then further down the grid you have Gila, Corrado, Heim, Lockhart and Hill. We're down, 28 drivers. Remember folks, we started with 36. We started with 36 drivers and we are now down to 28. Not surprised if that will become 27, because Lockhart, with the very uncharacteristic crash, has seen himself return immediately to the pit lane. Time is of the essence. With 12 minutes to go, 20% left in this race. Drivers are looking for any chance they can get at a potential position. Like Dismukes, he could be on the books for a top 10. All he needs to do is make a move on Hilton. See what he can do. He's wearing a very striking green livery. You drop right in. You can see him trying to close that gap with the Ferrari up ahead. Hilton not looking super confident right now. And you can see by comparison, Dismukes taking much deeper lines into the apex. I wonder if Hilton's playing a little bit safe here. Or he's not wanting to go too risky on his positioning on track. A little bit of a wider run there for the Porsche. Heavy on the brakes. Lean into the weight of the car, the weight distribution. Let the car carry you out through the throttle. Get the car rotated in. The earlier you can get on the power and lock in the power, is the earlier you can get a run on your opponents. Steamer Devine nearly made a move on their brief yellow flag coming out, but anyway, back up to the top end and back up into the fight for the top 10. Dismukes going for a little bit of a drag race on his opponent here. I think that was Hilton actually yielding, interestingly enough. The yield is real. And Dismukes taking it to the top 10. Lloyd is up in P1 and is 3 seconds, or 2.5 to 3 seconds clear of the rest of the field. The next closest driver is Hughes, and he is, as we say, about that 2 to 2.5 second gap, although it is dropping down. I wonder if Lloyd is struggling a bit more on pace in this half of the race. We have the last 10 minutes now, folks. So if drivers are going to make their moves, now is a good time to do it. The time is coming for drivers to see where they stand. And I know I said this last time, but this time it is exactly the same. As a driver, at this point in the race, you have one key decision. Of course, you've got decisions surrounding that, but the one key decision remains. Do I commit to my position, save my position, and lock in the points? Or do I go aggressive to try and get that bit more at a risk of things potentially going wrong? For the likes of Goddard, it could be worth the push. He's within a second, although the mistake from him just there, coming out of Bruxelles and heading into Pouhon, has put him out of the second gap between himself and Hopkins. But for someone like Stephen Devine, definitely worth it, because he's within just a few tenths. That P12, or no, sorry, that P13 spot, my mistake, is just within arm's reach. It could be worth it if he can just make sure he locks it in and doesn't play too risky. But for someone like, say, Coulomb, 20 seconds between himself and McKillop, he's not going to be making up that time. So his priority should be defending from Devine. As we see, they're taking very different lines through Eau Rouge and Radillon. Very wide line from Dorigo just behind, losing a quite substantial chunk of time. But yeah, Coulomb's defense should be the priority here. Save and lock in that P13 from the rival Ferrari driver. And that is where you will see success. Meanwhile, a bit further up, battle for P7 could be igniting in these last 5 minutes, as Versuri is down in P8, looking like they're closing a little bit of a gap to Mitchell. It could be a gap being closed. And I wonder who is going to yield, if anyone. What we don't see, what we don't want to see, is drivers putting themselves in harm's way just for a slim shot of positions. That can only end badly. If you put yourself in a really awkward spot, not only are you going to be slowing yourself down if you mess up the run, but you're also going to see yourself in an awkward place by just getting in the way of your opponent. Just getting in the way and really roughing things up on track. Final 5 minutes, and Stephen Devine looks like they are going to be going through it. Bus stop chicane. They got the nose in. Oh, just avoiding contact. Just avoiding the contact there. Leaving barely the right amount of space, but just enough to prevent disaster. There you go. Devine once again going for it. They're going to be going very narrow into La Source, but they're not going to be getting the exit speed. Coulomb could have a chance to go for it once again here. They're going to be drag racing out of turn 1, heading into Eau Rouge and Radillon. They're side by side. Someone's got to yield. It's going to be Coulomb. It's going to be tight, but Coulomb could keep the fight going. Although a bit of an overextension is going to see him under threat from Dorigo. You can see just a bit further back there, he's going to have to stick it to the left side, as that lack of speed is going to harm him and put him down behind both drivers now. A good run there. Good little mini race there. Coulomb is going to be, unfortunately, losing out in all of this. Missouri continuing their challenge against Mitchell. A little bit too narrow. Bumps up against the sausage curbs on the final corner. But is within a hair's breadth of taking the corner, taking the position away. Lean into the power. Trust in the car. Don't overdo it. Just watch where your opponent places himself and respond accordingly. Adversary not going for a slipstream, but rather going to the outside, potentially looking to cool their car down a bit. Maybe overheating on the brakes or something to that effect. Suffering a little bit of brake fade. At extreme temperatures, even with race specification parts, it can happen. Or at least certainly not as a responsive feeling. You see, there's a yellow coming out. That's Paul Murray. Let's see what quickly happened there. Let's see, jumping down into P1 coming out of Brussels. Full commit. Oh no! Just didn't turn in early enough. Big slide there on the marbles. Good recovery, however. Good recovery, though big time loss. He's going to have himself a tough time. We look to the front once again. We see Lloyd with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. He's going to be on his penultimate lap of the race here. All I can say is what a drive. What a drive. He's gone back. He's come from P1 to P8, then P1 again. Fighting through. Really good stuff. Shows the pace that he has on tap. Shows what he's really capable of. There you go. Vasuri is going to inherit the spot after Mitchell heads into the pits. Andrew Goddard looking fairly wounded. Let's see what happened here. Eau Rouge and Radion once again claiming another victim. Is it a bit too much on the curbs? It is a bit too much on the curbs. Then, oh, straight into the wall. Really brutal hit there. Really brutal hit. And that is the signal that the final lap has been reached. I thought we were going to see a penultimate lap and then a final lap after this, but it has just been called. I think that is going to be the final lap. Ooh, bit of a slide there from Lloyd. Keeps it together heading into P1. Yep, Goddard is not going to be happy after that one at all. He's not going to be happy. To think he was doing so well is also. One minute. Dorigo. Nope, not quite going for it. Yeah, not going for it. Going to be keeping the chase on. Mitchell and Goddard both in the pit. Alex North in the Vantage with a very nice looking, almost McLaren style. And he's going to be going for it on Murray. A very nice move through Stavolo. Commits it through the inside. If it can lock in Blanchimont and the pit stop, he's in a very, very good place. John Lloyd now, as the checkered flag is about to fall. The checkered flag has fallen. And it's the final lap for our race leader. Davina Dorigo will swap places. Goddard in the pits is now in P19. And I don't see him coming out anytime soon. Gary Broadbent could be going for a move on P22, but playing it much safer. Yeah, so once the leader has crossed the line, that is it. We have a bit of a challenge. Paul Murray and Ira Vasuri. Murray not getting the exit he needed out of La Source, and that was all it took to put him down. And Mark Hughes, credit where it's due, he's reeled in Lloyd to about a second's gap. I don't think, however, it is enough to shake that Ferrari in the top spot. Looking like a remarkable drive from everyone in these top 3 spots. We've got North 30 seconds up the road. But yeah, Lloyd, Hughes and Hopkins all doing an immaculate job. Lockout remains in the pits after their excursion earlier on. Excursion into the left wall. Rick Quinkellenberg, little bit of an outbraking moment into the chicane. But as we come through to the final few seconds of the lap here, the crucial final few seconds, through a Herculean display of performance, and certainly outplaying his current standing in the splits. He did have a bit of a wobble, but that is time? That is time. What happened there? That was anticlimactic. Saying the session has ended. The session has ended. Wait, what has happened? I'm very confused. I'm not gonna lie, folks. I'm very confused. I think the server... Has the server had a bit of a moment? Has the race had a bit of a moment? I can't tell. Because it seems like we were expecting the flag to fall and it just didn't happen. Right now, Lloyd is reading his P2 for me. Not enough time for the last lap? Oh, the session ended before the final lap could be concluded. Is that it? Because out of fuel, we would have just seen them lift and coast. We wouldn't have seen the session be ended entirely. We should race again? Absolutely not. But here we have it, folks. Regardless of how the race ended, regardless of how it ended, it's going to be time here in SIMseniors. So we round things off for the time being. Of course, a little bit of a interesting end, shall we say. But there you have it. You ran out of juice at the line. So he did run out of fuel. Apparently, and I quote, not putting the last 50p in the parking meter. But there you go, folks. That is going to do it for tonight. Apologies for the hiccups at the end, but that is still a very good race. We had some really great driving. Congratulations to all of the top runners, winners in class, and also congratulations to everyone who finished the race and put in their all tonight. You're going to join us next week for the amazing racing that we are set to be having. Because, of course, you have Group 1 on the Mondays, you have Group 2 on the Tuesdays. And next round is going to be seeing us headed to Paul Ricard. So don't go anywhere, folks, because it's going to be good. Have a good night. I've been Sappy. It's been a great evening. Some great racing. And we bid adieu for now.